here today at the Custard Factory with Matt Windle, who will be interviewed by Shanice and Andre.
Hello. Hi. But you alright, Matt?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. So basically, could you just kind of tell us, like, you know, when you got into poetry, like, what was the reaction from like your friends that used to hang around with? And
when I first kind of got into poetry, all my mates kind of were MCs and raps and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very kind of close line. So a lot of people think my friends will be like, "Oh, what are you doing that for?" And it's all really supportive. They're like, "Nah, Windle, that's sick," and they wanted to come and watch me perform. And my mates still come to watch me perform, and they really enjoyed it.
that's good. That's good. That sounds good. So you had support and stuff. So
Yeah, definitely.
It wasn't like it was kind of an outcast.
Nah.
All right then. You know, when did you like first realise that that's what like it was for you and you could connect with it?
I think it's about 2006. I made the finals of the Young Poet Laureate competition. I saw a few poets perform and stuff, and I never saw poetry perform before.
Yeah.
I was just like, you could do that with poetry. That's what I want to do, kind of thing. So then a year later, I entered the Young Poet Laureate again, and then luckily I managed to win, and it's kind of snowballed from there.
Okay. You see, you mentioned the Young Poet Laureate. Yeah. Could you explain what that is?
Yeah, it's for teenagers in Birmingham between 11 and 17. That send in 4 poems. One has to be on a certain subject. This year the subject was home. If they make the final 10, they'll go to the library theatre, perform for some judges and parents and all that kind of stuff. And then if you get the highest mark, you're the winner, and then you're the Young Poet Laureate for a year, so from October to October. And you just go around different events in Birmingham, performing poetry, holding workshops, depending on the age of the person that wins it.
Oh, okay then.
So, what would you say the underground scene is like, or the scene at all?
The poetry scene.
Yeah, the poetry scene.
It's big, but it can be bigger, you know, I mean, especially in Birmingham. I think Birmingham in the Midlands is kind of one of the biggest scenes for poetry out there, I think. Obviously, you've got like London and Manchester and Liverpool and stuff like that that are doing their thing as well. But I hear in European cities like Germany and places like that, it's like massive. They get like 300 people turning up for an open mic, like not even anyone that's kind of headlining act or anything like that, just a standard open mic, 300 people turn up. This country you probably get 30 people turn up, you know, so
right.
it can get bigger, but it is getting bigger, definitely.
So for the readers, for the audience, could you define yourself? What is the difference between poetry and spoken word?
Poetry, the kind of traditional thing that either you're taught at school or people think of when you first think of poetry. I think it's kind of like, it's more written, it's not for performance, and even when it's performed, it's just kind of read off a book. You stand there, you got your book, you read it. Spoken word is more performance poetry, so you got no paper, you learn your words, and you just kind of got more pace to it, you rap it out a little bit more, and that's pretty much the difference, I think, really.
Alright, well, I know you've probably had a few years. Have you ever thought of like starting your own workshops or writing a book or?
I've got a little book that was done for me of like some of my first ever poetry. So there are quite a few poems I don't perform now. They're on the website, and I'll just go around schools holding workshop and stuff for the last year. So that's kind of what I've been getting into. So hopefully, with all the cuts and everything, I can still kind of get into schools and help the young ones, you know, because I get. After a workshop, I get loads of young people adding my Facebook or going on my website and saying like, "You've really inspired me," or "I want to write poetry." Or I had a gig at the Mac called Bear's House on Saturday, and a couple of kids that I taught paid £5 to come and turn up and watch poetry. And like before, I say, "Who thinks poetry is boring?" and all the hands go up. And then like on a Saturday night, they're paying £5 to come and watch poetry. You know, so it really gets through to the kids. So hopefully, I can get into schools.
Well, as well as poetry, you do boxing and other things.
Yeah.
So, how did you get into boxing?
Boxing is just something I always wanted to do. When I was like 10, I said to Dad, can I box? And he said, "Well, I'd let you, but I don't think your mum will let you."
Yeah.
And I asked her if I could box, and just couldn't. She wasn't having it. And it got to 15, I was a sprinter, I played football, and I just got fed up of them all. And I was like, I want to box. And he's like, if I don't do it now, it's going to be too late. And boxing is the type of thing, if you don't like it, you won't stick it. It's not like football where you can just turn up and have a little kick about, and if you're playing bad, you get substituted. You know, if you're fighting bad, you get knocked out or something. So I liked it. You know, I've kind of won a few awards and fought for a title and stuff. So it's all good. It's not going too bad.
So what's your weight class at the moment?
Featherweight, so it's like 57 kilograms, so under 8 stone 12, that kind of range. I'm like probably just over 9 stone at the minute. It's like pre-season, so we haven't got a fight until October. So within the next month, I'll start to kind of watch what I'm eating again and lose weight and stuff, and then be ready to fight in September, October time.
So where do you practice? Where do you...
Worley, my gym's in Worley, yeah, just in Edgbaston off City Road by George Dixon School. So yeah, just there, it's not too hard to get to.
So with the training, and do you find time to do both? Or?
Yeah, because luckily, like I say, a lot of my work is school work. So I kind of at the school until about 4 o'clock, and I'm at training at about 6, 7 o'clock. So luckily I can work all day, go home, get something to eat, and then go straight out to training. So it's not too bad. It works quite well together.
So what happens if you go over your weight limit?
If I go like on a fight.
Like say if you're heavier than you should be, you can't fight until you're at the correct weight.
Well, if I turn up to a fight and I'm heavier than what I should be, the fight can be off. The opponent can kind of say like, no, it's not the right weight, and the fight's off. If I'm heavier than what I should be before the fight, I just have to try and make the weight. I just have to watch what I eat, and I don't starve myself or nothing. But instead of having chocolate or burgers and pizzas and stuff like that, puddings, you just have to kind of have pasta and 3 meals a day, and only small meals, and don't have chocolate cake for pudding, have a banana, just all that kind of stuff. So if I'm not the right way, I just kind of have to make sure I am.
You don't mind cutting out like chocolate?
I do. I hate it because I love chocolate. I sit there all day just eating chocolate, but I want to fight, so that's what I have to do.
So do you have time for like much of a social life since you do poetry, boxing?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, I don't go out that much in terms of clubbing and drinking and all that kind of stuff, because obviously if I'm training 5 times a week for a fight, I'm not going to be going out to a club getting drunk and ruining all that fitness kind of thing. But I get to see mates and just hang out and chill and stuff, especially in the holidays, because like I say, most of my work's through school. So when you school holidays, half term, 6 weeks, whatever, I get all the time to myself, so that's not too bad.
Do you find that your social life like brings in more people like from reading poetry?
Yeah, especially when you kind of start speaking to people that don't know you as well, and they're like, so what do you do for a living? I'm like, I'm a poet. And they're kind of like, what? And they don't think that could be a job. They're like, no, what do you do to earn money? I'm like, yeah, I'm a poet. So it's like that kind of gets people interested. And then when you turn up to open mics and you don't know people, and then you perform and they perform, and you kind of end up talking with each other, then you end up making friends and stuff just for that. So then the next time you turn up to a thing, you know them, you're like, oh, right, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. So now you can meet people like through the whole poetry thing as well anyway.
Yeah, so like, are you influenced by anybody, or like, do you watch anyone else? Or
I mean, Akala, I've worked with him a couple of times, that also does quite a lot of poetry. I know he's known for his music and stuff, but he does a lot of spoken word, so he's fantastic. Spoken word artist called Polar Bear, he's sick. Dreadlock Alien, Spaz, Charlie Jordan, a lot of people that luckily I've managed to kind of work with them all and just kind of take little bits off all of them and add me as well, and just kind of try and make the best I can.
So how do you remember all your poems?
I just
and stuff?
keep reading it. I just sit there and read it and read it and read it.
So what do you do when you're in the middle of, like, say you're performing? What do you do if you forget a line, or do you just kind of improvise?
Yeah, if I forget a line, you just have to kind of you just have to try and style it out and quickly think of another line, and just hope you got something that kind of keeps you going, and hope you'll get back on track. 9 times out of 10, I've always got my book with me as well. I don't read off paper, I just kind of memorise it. I've always got my book there, so if worst comes to the worst, I can just kind of flick through, have a look at what it says, and carry on from there. So
what's the crowd response been like when you perform?
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, they've kind of seemed to really enjoy it. Like, yeah, everyone I mean, I suppose they could just be saying it, but everyone seems to kind of enjoy it. And I try and talk about things that were kind of they'll be able to relate to, you know, like now, not things that happened time ago or stuff like that. Just try and talk about things that people will relate to. And I turn up to events and people go, what poems are you going to perform? And I don't even know most of the time, so I just kind of turn up, look at the audience and think, right, okay, they like that poem, and that poem, and I just do what I think they'll kind of enjoy, you know. So 9 times out of 10, or most of them enjoy it.
So do you attract like different age groups, like from kids to adults?
Yeah.
And like do you do elderly as well, or just?
Yeah, no, I have done a lot of it schoolwork, secondary
Yeah.
schools and stuff, but I've worked with like year ones and stuff like that, and they've really enjoyed what I've done. And I've worked with like adults and stuff that is like really weird that I was teaching people like older than me and stuff. So, but no, you know, I've got kind of things suitable pretty much for all ages and all events and stuff. So that's what I try and do, because I do such a variety of things. I try and have like a variety of poems and stuff. So, like I say, pretty much everyone can kind of relate to what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alright, there's one more thing, unless there's something else you want to add.
Oh no. Yeah.
There's one more thing we want. Would you be able to give us a little taste, a little freestyle?
Yeah, I'll try and give you a little thing. I might just run out of ideas halfway through and I'll be like, oh, alright then, let's forget it. But it's cool. I'll try and talk about what I don't like about, the main thing I try and do when I go to schools is get away from all this negative postcode, my gang's harder than your gang kind of stuff. So it's a little bit like that. Here goes a poetical, unforgettable, the whole come incredible, you forgettable, terrible, go back to school, I lecture you. I stand at the front of the class, cause with me as your teacher, that's a guaranteed pass. At last the torture get past, so I'm taking it. All the stereotypical talk, I'm breaking it. Poetical earthquake, I'm shaking it. Just listen and take a second before you're in prison. You're my position, your intuition is missing. I'm wishing all the men and the women were kissing, not dissing. And if poetry's an ocean, then I've got you swimming. I'm at the front, so I'm winning. I'm starting from the beginning. I cast a shadow when you're negative, like so it is dimming.